Thanks for joining me again, my fellow Crystal Chip enthusiasts. This tutorial covers installing more apps that are pre-prepared. Another tutorial will cover the process for apps that are not included in my Boot Manager Mega Pack. From the previous video, we installed Boot Manager, the dashboard for the Crystal Chip Modchip. Many are familiar with WLaunchElf and its variants, if not as a file manager for the PS2 devices, among other things. By devices, I mean memory card, USB hard drive, and MMCE. Boot Manager also has a file manager of sorts, and it does it all through user configurable scripts. A later video will cover the scripts and how to make them, but if you're interested, feel free to study them. So let's get to the nitty-gritty. If you have not, please download the files from my repository at sale.4k/crystalchips R34 V3 releases. This part may change, so you can always go to my user and then look for it there. So go ahead and download it. Download by clicking here. Once we've done that, it'll go to my downloads folder. You would unzip this to get your folder. In here, you've already done this. This is all how you build your firmware and Boot Manager to install. So in here, you see the Boot Manager Mega Pack. Let's extract it. Yay, got it right here. Now, what I want you to do, we're going to make it so that you can always reinstall Boot Manager or do updates, etc. Because Boot Manager can install on top of itself. It's pretty cool. So go ahead and open this. See BM for Boot Manager, apps, go in here. Now we're going to select all this, copy it. Go back to main right here. We're going to go to Files, BM, Apps, and we're going to paste it in here. Great. So, and go back to Files, this BM folder. What's cool, this is the whole structure of how Boot Manager works. Go ahead and select this, copy it, and then you would paste it to your USB drive. Right here, here's my PS2 USB drive. So you'll see I have some other things. I'm working on some other things for fun. For example, Ghost 2, Matrix Infinity. Anyway, if you go in here, Boot Manager, Apps, you see the apps again. Great. Now, go ahead and unplug it. It's going to disappear. And plug it into your PS2. I'll go back to the PS2 right here. All right. Now, let's go ahead and start using this thing. So we can go to Application Browser. If I go to Run, and then go to Memory Card 1, you won't see anything. So by default, most apps are designed to be installed to memory card. Some newer ones are being run off of USB like Zeb Plus or OSD XMB by HeroTex, and the other one is Chelsea Fantasy. Regardless, you do have to follow their directions for the app. So if anyone wants to help add apps, I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, I'm working on it by myself here. So go to Application Browser. Go to Install, and you can install from any device to any device, except for you can't install to CD. So the nice thing is, let's say you want to upgrade Boot Manager, you can install over top of it. You want to, let's say you lost Boot Manager, you can run from the CD and then install other apps or a newer Boot Manager from USB versus the one that's just on CD. So go ahead. We're going to install application from USB. And we're going to do a couple of them. We want WLaunchElf. And these are the options. I don't have MX4SIO. MMCE is superior. It's a MemCard Pro 2 SD2 PSX, and Bitfunks is PSX MemCard Gen 2. So we're going to install this. We're going to choose where do we install it to. This one is a this chip I have in this one is not the 1.0s it's going to be releasing or for sale soon. But the 2.0s and above do have a flash storage on it. Let's just do memory card because most apps wouldn't know what to do if they're installed from flash because they're not designed for it. But it is nice if you need it. Bootman, like OPL, I used to have OPL on this. So memory card 1, and you see it's copying. Yay. Let it do its thing. Let's go ahead and do my OPL for RetroGem. So we're back onto mass, see available on mass. You can keep going through this thing. OPL for RetroGem, because I do have a RetroGem installed, memory card 1. So another reason this may not work on other devices, if the app isn't designed to read from that device and it has external files, then it may not be able to find the files it needs. I know OSD XMB and some things Cosmic Scale is working on right now have that problem. Great. Now, what can we do? We'll go back. We're going to run and go to memory card 1. And we have WLaunchElf and OPL. Awesome. So let's run WLaunchElf. Now here, something kind of unique. I do some testing sometimes where I provide all three different options for how to run an app. Shutdown shuts down the chip. Autoload of drivers off disables any external drivers like USB and a memory card. I believe it's just those two. I don't think it does anything else. And then without any option is normal. So this is useful when you're trying to test which other device it can run from and any potential problems. And then as I figure things out, I remove these options for people. So I'm going to use without any option because this one works fine. And we're in WLaunchElf. So check this out. Memory card 0. Oh, look, we have Boot Manager, VM, and we have apps and devices. Great. So let's restart. I do have to press the restart button. Wait for it to do its thing. Great. Let's try another one. Application browser, run. We're going to choose run from memory card 1. And let's go to OPL. Now, I have not pre-configured any apps. You're going to have to do that. Don't ask me for how to do that. Go ahead and look up directions from the developer. So in this case, I have OPL. I already did have it set up. So here's my legally owned games, which I should sell some because I don't play them and they take up space. Anyway, OPL set up and running. Great. Let's restart. Now, what if you have an app that you don't want? That you're not using, and because memory cards are typically only 8 megabytes. Especially if you're using it for MMCE, the memory card has to be 8 megabytes. So application browser, remove. We're going to go to memory card 1. Let's remove WLaunchElf. I don't want it. And it removes it. Awesome. So here you have seen how to run, install, and remove apps. Let's do something. I'm going to reinstall application browser, install, because WLaunchElf is very useful. Memory card 1. Oops, see, I only have the one app on memory card 1, so I can't install it to anything else. So install from USB, because that's where I have my stuff. Let's do WLaunchElf to memory card 1. You can see there's several files. So when the app's running, it It does need to be able to access its own files. Great. Now, that's back. This is what we need to go on. We're going to work on auto booting or auto load and auto booting. So what we want to do is go to configuration. When the PS2 turns on, I want OPL to auto run. So go to Autoload, I have Autoload turned on. I don't like disks booting if I leave them in there, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn this off. DVD, I don't watch DVDs, so I don't have CD audio. You can see you have Autoload no disk. So when no disk is in, I want to run an application. And it's I'm going to now choose my application. We're going to go to memory card 1. We're going to go to OPL. Good. Now go back. Back. We should see. Yep. So Autoload new disk, no disk is an application, OPL for RetroGem, and it's going to start after 2 seconds. 2 seconds is a good delay, because what if you don't want it to run? Anyway, let's try this. We're going to go back. Let's reset the PS2 and see what happens. And should just go straight to OPL. And it does. By the way, that little line is not a bug. That's how RetroGem figures out what it needs for game ID. Awesome. Now, oh great, I want to reboot my PS2, but I don't want to go to RetroGem. Okay. Buttons can be mapped for things, but the D-pad cannot be mapped for things for auto running or for hotkeys, which I'm going to show you real quick. So what you do, reboot your PS2 and just spam any of the D-pad buttons. I spam down because it's easy to hold. Click, 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 click is what I'm doing. And see, it didn't run it. Let's try it again. I'll show you. Waiting, and I'm spamming down, just spamming the D-pad. Click, 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 click. You can't hear it. And it didn't load. Great. Awesome. So that's how you auto-load an app. That's also how you don't auto-load an app when you're running things. And you can, again, go to configuration, go to auto-load, and we can set our delay. This is 2 seconds until it starts. So the faster you set it, the less seconds you set it, the more on top of it you have to be spamming a button. So let's do something else here. I've walked through this on another video, but we're going to set auto hotkeys just like Framework Boot and PS2 Better Basic Bootloader, PS2 BBL, I think it is. So going to go to Application Browser, Run, Memory Card 1, and go into it where I want, and try this. You press Select, see how it's green? Now press any button you want, then X. So select any button, then X, and hold down the any button. So I'm doing Select R1, and while I'm holding R1, press X. And you'll see it flash. It won't work right now. Go back one screen. Let's go back to another screen altogether. Let's go to configuration. Let's go somewhere else in here. Go to hard drive, for example, and I'm going to press R1. So reboot or launch the application to WLaunch Elf. Awesome. So how do you get rid of that? Let's reboot. Oh, and I had OPL set to Autoboot. So I'm going to spam D button again, because I forgot. Okay. Application browser, run memory card 1, and then go here, select, and R1 and X. I think that undoes it, if I remember right. If not, then assign it to something else. And you can assign it to anywhere you want. Let's say you happen to go to PS2 configuration often. So watch. PS2, select, R1, X. Let's go back somewhere. System information. Okay, you see that I'm running a Crystal Chip 2.0 in a V12 console. And then R1. And we're to the PS2 section. So you can do this for anything you can highlight. Awesome. That is it, guys, on how to install, run, and remove apps. Last little thing. This is something I added. It hasn't been in this for about 20 years, but you don't want your kids to change things. You don't want them to install apps or remove them or make any configuration changes. So go to configuration, go to security. Let's set a pin. I like a super secret pin of 1-1. Now this right now works like an XY axis. So down is the Y axis, right and left is the X axis. The scripting, I don't think, has a way to do 4 digits easily, unless you do an IP address, and I don't want to set something with too many numbers. So I set a pin, I press circle to get out, circle again, and see, advanced functions locked. I can boot the CD, that's boot media. I can browse applications, like to run them, but I can't install or remove. And I can, if I go to configuration, I only have security, and it's going to ask me for my PIN. So let's try again. Configuration, security, check this out. Input your PIN to unlock all functions. Now, if you forget your PIN, oh no, what do? Shoot, I'm screwed. Well, reinstall Boot Manager by sticking a CD in. I should probably clarify that in the notes for it by reinstalling Boot Manager via your CD. And again, you can, as I make changes, you don't need to install the Boot Manager that's installed on CD. Put the CD in, boot it, and then make sure the newer boot. Make sure the newer Boot Manager is on your USB stick, and just install from USB to memory card 1 or DFFS, which is the Crystal Chip Flash. Awesome. So I'm going to set my PIN again to unlock it, circle, and it's permanently, or it's unlocked until you set another PIN again. So that is it, guys. You are ready to start using your PS2 and Crystal Chip. Thanks.